Hello everybody, good evening. It's Lynn and I am following up with a video because I've had it requested by a lot of people after I posted some cards on a couple of different sites. One is Unity, the Unity share site, and on Facebook, and then the Stamper Swap site. So let me just back up and tell you that the week before last, I just had the most amazing week. It's been in the works for quite some time, but I have made some wonderful Facebook friends through the Stamper Swap and Sell site, and we FaceTime and do a lot of things, but I never met them personally. So I invited a group of them to come to my house for us to play and stamp for a few days, and it ended up they were here for 5 days, and we just had the most amazing time. So I encourage you to reach out to people on some of the groups that you're in and just make friends with them and possibly get together for stamping, because it is a lot of fun, and it's amazing what you'll think up together when you're together and you come up with some wonderful ideas. And that's what we're going to do today, is talk about one of the ideas that came up. Actually, I really wasn't involved with it because I was upstairs taking care of my kids. But Sharon White, who's a good friend, she was restless that night and she started playing with my distress spray stains and oxides and some stamps, and came up with a great idea, and we've just had a lot of fun with it. I think everybody left with probably 20 backgrounds of this. So when we all started posting pictures of our completed cards with it, everybody just kind of went crazy and they wanted to know, how do we do that? So I got volunteered to make the video. So that's what I'm here to do tonight, and I'm going to try. I've already tried this once, and I'm not the expert at this, y'all. Sharon came up with it, and I would say Ginger probably perfected it. But I'm going to give it a shot, and I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you get the gist of it. These are some of the cards that we made using this technique. For the most part, what we worked on while everybody was here was this rose card like this. You'll see all these different roses. I added to it, and I've played with some other stamps and done it, and I've liked some of the results from that too. So I just kind of wanted to show you, these are just some of the roses, and this stamp set is by Unity, and it is called, well, of course it just slipped my brain, my condolences, and I know it's going to sparkle a light on there. It says my condolences, and I would assume these are roses, so I'm calling it the rose card. When I bought the stamp, because I went and had to get it after all of this, especially to make the video, I was looking on their site, and of course Unity has some great stamps. I do not work for anybody, y'all. These videos, I do not get compensated for anything, so just make sure that's clear. But I'll tell you what I do like. But on Unity, I did find this one that's called Peony. I'm not sure how to say that, Hugs. And I think it would work really well too, so I am going to try that eventually. But today I'm going to use the rose stamp since I bought it for this video, and show you how to make these cards. But you'll see that this one is a background stamp by Unity called Worn Grid, and I think it was amazing with this technique. And this one is a Stampin' Up! Stamp called From the Garden, and I've had it, well, I don't actually know how long I've had this, a pretty good long time, but I think I bought it off eBay or something after I was a demonstrator. But it's a great one to use for this. It's just a little different because it is actually a flower. It's not technically a background, but it comes like a big old background as their stamps used to come. But what I did with this one is, when I stamped it out, or I inked it up and did it, it had a lot of ink on it pooled, and I just took a watercolor brush and moved some of that pooling into the flower to make the flower show up better. This was where I took a piece of cardstock afterwards and cleaned up the remainder of the ink that was on the stamp. And I think it turned out fine too. Somebody would like to get that card. This one is a different stamp set. I cannot remember the name of it. It's very, very large. So this has been cut down quite a bit. And again, I pulled some of the ink up and colored the flowers in it and made it somewhat of an abstract. So there's just a lot of things you can do with it, and you can use different types of stamps with it. But today, we're going to use the rose stamp. And I'm going to do my best to come up with something that turns out halfway decent. But let me just show you the differences. So for example, you see these are very abstract, they're very watery, they have a lot more water to them. And then there's these that Ginger did and left with me, and you can see that they're more of the image. They're not quite as much puddling of the distress spray stains. And either way, I do like them both ways. I like this look, that's kind of an abstract, but I like this look also. I just haven't turned this one into a card yet. So I'm not sure what I'm going to come up with when I try this here in a minute. When I tried it earlier, I just stopped the video because they were all puddling. But let me just show you those where they puddled, and they're okay. I mean, I would still turn this into a card. You can see it puddled a lot here, and then when I stamped extras off of it, it's not as puddled. But I could still make that into a card, and this was just where I dropped the stamping block on it, and it made a mess. But you know what? This is going to have to be cut down because this is 1/4 of a sheet of 9 by 12 paper. So it's 4 1/4 by 6, or excuse me, 4 1/2 by 6. So it's going to have a lot of it cut down. Here's another one that I did. Excuse my arms reaching. Again, it was just, I wasn't doing it right. And here's another one, but I can still turn those into cards. I could splatter that with some paint and I could make a card out of that. And then when you take the excess off and you use it on cardstock, it's just a completely different look. But I like that look too. So lots of backgrounds can be made very simply. So let's get started. What you're going to need is some watercolor paper. Again, I use Canson. That is my watercolor paper of choice. I've said it every video, I think. And I buy the 9 by 12s, and this week at Joann's, because we used almost all my watercolor paper, I went to Joann's. It was on sale, and they had a 25% coupon if you ordered and picked it up at the store. And so I did that. So I got 3 nice big packs of Canson watercolor paper for $20. So I was happy to stack that back up in my room again. The other thing you want to have on hand is just some cardstock. These are just quarter sheets of cardstock, so they're 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This is great for cleanup, and we'll go through that too. Because again, we don't want to waste ink. This stuff gets expensive, so you know, don't waste your ink. You'll need a nice stamp similar to this flower one that we're going to use. Try different things though. Try them and show me what you did, because I love to see you take the ideas that we have and turn them into your own thing. So I know there's a lot of stamps out there that you could use. Here's one that I did just playing around, and this is an old Stampin' Up! One called Floral. I did buy this many years ago. Let's see if it says what year this is. Nope, it's so old it doesn't even have a year on it. And this is one of the backgrounds from it, and I think I can do something with that. So, so try something different, something that I'm not thinking of. You do it, show it to me, and let's see what you come up with. Okay. The other thing you'll need is distress spray stains or oxides. Either one will work. Oxides are going to have a more muted, matte type finish. It just reacts differently with water. Distress spray stains will be vibrant, but it's your choice, whatever you want to use. Some of us liked the oxides better. Some of us like the inks, the spray stains better. I like vibrant, bright colors, but really and truly I liked the oxides also. Okay, I'm going to keep my watercolor paper and my cardstock off of my workspace. You can see where I tried the video before. These also make fun things for journals, these pages that you stamped off on and so forth. So I just covered it up so I'd have a clean surface here. But keep your papers and turn that into something else. So I'm going to just pick a couple colors here. And, if you don't have distress spray stains, you can use other types of watercolor-based sprays. There's others out there. There's Glimmer Mist. There's just different ones. You can use other ones and get creative. Try something else. Make your own spray stains with ink refills and see what happens. Okay, you don't have to go out and buy these things. So if you can see, these are flowers, roses here, and then there's leaves off to the side. So I'm going to use Distress Spray Stains in Squeeze Lemonade. We'll go with Cracked Pistachio. I'll do some Salty Ocean, and of course Twisted Citron for my leaves. When you press the pump on the Distress Spray Stains, some of them are easier to do than others, and some of them will just come blasting out. There's nothing you can do about that. I mean, unless you're just way better at controlling that pump than me, I can't really control it. There's a couple bottles that I can, but most of them just do their own willy-nilly. They do what they want to do. So it's okay. It'll still work. So again, and you need a bottle of water to spray. So I'm going to take the yellow first, and I'm going to try to get it right inside the little inner circles on the flowers just for a center. But you're going to see it sprays outside of that. These bottles are just kind of stiff, and they don't really do it according to your will. They do it according to their will. So then I'm going to come back and I'm going to take some of the Salty Ocean, and I'm just going to spray it on like one side of the flowers, not necessarily the same side on all the flowers. And then I'm going to take some of the Cracked Pistachio, and I'm going to try to fill in some of the flowers where those colors were not. And then last but definitely not least is the Twisted Citron, and I'm just going to, this one I can control for some reason a little bit better. I'm going to spray it where the leaves are. Okay. Next, I am going to mist this with water. Ginger, who I think has got the best control on this, really, maybe because she did about 100 of them, she says to hold the bottle up like 2 feet high and mist it down onto it. I can't really do that with the camera rolling, so I'm going to go up as high as I can and just mist a little bit of water down onto it. You know that distress spray stains and oxides especially really react when the water hits them. They're different reactions, but it does help move the colors around some. So I've misted that a little bit, and the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to try this 2 ways, okay? The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my piece of cardstock, and rather than actually flipping my image over with my clear block, I'm going to lay it on it this time. I'm going to try it this way while we're on camera here. And just, I like to put several of them on there, so I'm going to lay this one on here, and I'm going to use my hand or this to try to smooth it on there and get as much of that ink up as I can. And then I'm just going to lift it off. And you can see that it's very puddled. Okay, Ginger would not like this that much, but I like the puddles. But now we can take it, I'm going to leave it down flat because I don't really want it running, and I can turn around and flip this over and add more colors. I could totally fill up this sheet, and I think I'll miss this one more time here where I've still got a good bit of color, because I find it dries out a little bit, and we'll put that on there, okay? So now I could even come up here if I wanted and just stamp off a little bit more. There's not much left there to get. There's not much there to get on watercolor paper. But watch what happens when I take this, and that's gonna probably make a liar out of me because I said that, but this is one of the backgrounds. We'll set that aside. And now I'm gonna get a piece of cardstock out. And I'm gonna wet this one more time, try to pull out more color, and I'm gonna lay the cardstock on it and rub it around. Cardstock just seems to pick up more of the water, and it sinks right into the cardstock, not like watercolor paper. But then you have a very light image of it, okay? I say that too much, okay? Okay, sorry. Let's see if I can get a little bit more on here. All right, and I can just make this whole piece of cardstock covered. With color. And there you go. So I can use this as just the start of a background where I can add more things to it. I could add some of the splatters onto it. We'll do that real quick. Let's just see. Well, it seems like I always have a problem with the stamping blocks when I'm online with you guys. Okay, here's my nasty little clear block that I use just for splattering. And I'm going to spray a tiny bit of this blue Salty Ocean on it. And I'm going to take my watercolor pen, aqua paint or whatever you want to call it, and I'm just going to splatter a little bit of paint on it. Or color, not paint. So I could do a lot of other things with this. I could take some script stamps and add that on there, and I could take a stencil and add some paint onto it. This piece right here is strictly my cleanup piece. It is not the one that it's not the one I was going for. The one I was going for was on the watercolor paper, and it's going to turn out really pretty with the puddles on it when it dries. Okay? I think that explains it all. If you have any questions, just put them down in the comments. But I think this is a short video, but I think I've gotten it all for you. Try different color combinations. Try different inks. Try the oxides and see what you think. And if this wasn't clear enough for you, give me a shout out and I'll try to do it again. But I think I've got it all there. So once again, just quickly put your spray stains on your image. You can flip it over and stamp it, or you can lay your paper on it and make your images upside down. Okay, I think that's it. Let me know what you think. Have a good evening, everybody.